Now Atlanta's most accurate weather with WSB meteorologist Kirk Mellish.
East winds and more clouds will keep us cooler today. My exclusive forecast for this afternoon, hazy and humid, high 85 to 88. Tonight, partly cloudy and mild, low 68. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and breezy with a 40% chance for a thunderstorm by evening, high 85, low 66. And the extended forecast for your weekend, Saturday, scattered thunder showers. Sunday, partly cloudy, less humid, high Saturday 79. Sunday, high 70, low 54. I'm meteorologist Kirk Mellish in the AM-750 WSB Weather Center.
WSB color radar is clear. Under partly cloudy skies, the relative humidity's 62%. The wind is out of the east at 12 miles an hour. The barometer 30.23 and steady. At 106, the temperature on Peachtree Street is 78 degrees. WSB talk show host Wes Minter is next. I'm Mike Summers, and if news breaks out, we'll break in. This is Atlanta's leader for news, weather, and traffic, AM-750 WSB. Depend on it.
I'm real happy to be here. Don't ask me how it happened, why I'm in this town. It's a long story, but anyway, they said, would you come down to the station, take some calls? I said, you got it. So call in, we'll chat and have some fun.
Welcome to Thursday. Man, I tell you, this week is just breezing by. I trust it's been a good one for you. May 3rd, 1990. Another big, exciting prom weekend on the way. And I'm Wes Minter on the undisputed champion for the most stimulating talk in Atlanta, AM-750 WSB.
Excellent.
Yes, it is. Coming up here at 2 o'clock, we'll be joined by Republican gubernatorial hopeful. Where did the word gubernatorial ever come from? The gubernatorial hopeful from the Republican side, Mr. Johnny Isakson, who I saw, perhaps you did too. He's in that millionaire category. His net worth is over, $2 million. So he'll be joining us at 2 o'clock. Meanwhile, lines are for you right now. Open phone, 872-0750. Toll-free line, 1-800-WSB-TALK. Again, this afternoon, the judges have selected 10 semifinalists from the Brunch with Wes contest. The Brunch with Wes happening Sunday, May 20th at the fabulous Stouffer Waverly Hotel. We are going to eat ourselves silly on that day. I have to watch it, though. It's one of those fruit and salad brunches, for Old Weston here. But we are going to have ourselves a great time. Here's how you enter Brunch with Wes. You simply send us an entry, 25 words or less, telling me why you should have brunch with Wes. 25 words or less. You can fax us the entry, as many have, or you can invest in 25 cents in an envelope, as many have. The address to send the entry is Brunch with Wes, WSB Radio, Atlanta 30309. We've had things addressed less than that, and they still get here, but that's the best way to address it. If you want to fax it to us, studio fax machine right over there with Tater is 897-SEND. 897. You got to go to the phone at 7363. 897-7363. Welcome back, Tate. You enjoyed your couple of days away.
Thank you, yes, but the only trouble is I can't find where my headphones plug in this new studio.
Well, I've been spending a whole week trying to figure things out in this new room. So, speaking of the guy that can help you figure it out.
Here's the boss. Yeah, he's on the air now. Go in there.
Well, does he want to come in here while I'm on the air?
Right, he wants to come in. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Well, I'm the only one I'm told he hasn't done that to, so... Anyway, where were we? Oh, the Brunch with Wes. So get those, and we're going to have the judges have picked out 10 semifinalists who are going to win the all-new AM-750 WSB coffee mug, as from yours truly, the Wes Minter coffee mug. And then those semifinalists go into the grand prize drawing in the big mug here at the station. We're going to have on Thursday, May 17th, a couple of weeks away. We'll actually select 10 more finalists that day, semifinalists, and then have a big drawing later in the afternoon for the Brunch with Wes. So, again, Brunch with Wes contest at the fabulous Stouffer Waverly Hotel. It is a terrific value. You know what we're talking about. Okay, let's get down to some issues here. You set the agenda, 872-0750. Are your kids eating the right kind of food at school? Well, do you know in Los Angeles, believe it or not, they have decided that junk food is better in Los Angeles than that traditional, nutritious cafeteria food. But how do they make this determination? Do they make it based on nutrition? No. Do they make it based on attendance? No, nada. They make it based on money. The school board earlier this week in Los Angeles reversed itself. They rescinded a ban on junk food that they set 10 years ago. Back in 1980, the school board said, we're tired of kids eating potato chips and pop, or soda pop, however you like to call it, snacks, and other nutritionally deficient foods. We're taking them out of the cafeteria. So guess what happened? They have suffered a $10 million deficit. And they're now looking at cutting some people off of jobs, like 100 people. So they're bringing back the potato chips. They're bringing back the pop. They're bringing back the snacks. And so the question is, should we have junk food in public schools? They say, hey, it's the only thing the kids will eat. What do you say? 872-0750. Our governor in Georgia, you remember his name, Joe Frank Harris. He's kind of the lame duck now. He's going to go to that great farm in Cartersville here in a few months. Governor Joe Frank Harris said last night, and I am reading this from our own news computer over here, Governor Joe Frank Harris said that Georgia will never be able to build its way out of the prison overcrowding crisis. Now, let me repeat that. Georgia will never is a long time, Georgia will never be able to build its way out of the prison overcrowding crisis. So, he says that state leaders... I heard this driving home last night, and I said, no, this can't be what they're talking about. He said state leaders must try, are you ready for this? To deter crime, or deter crime, deter, try to eliminate crime by determining what causes people to break the law. What causes... It's detour, okay? What causes people to break the law? He said everybody wants to know when the madness of prison overcrowding will end, but nobody has the answer, and perhaps nobody ever will. That's from Governor Joe Frank Harris. Do you think we can ever build ourselves out of this crisis? I do. I say you set your priorities. You build the prisons. You set the jails. You get the necessary resources together. But no, he says state leaders have to try to determine what causes people to break the law. What causes people to do what they do? We're going to have a state psychology prison? I mean, you know, where that's all they say, we're tweak on this guy's head here a little bit. Oh, I figured it out. I know what causes people to break the law. Great. Now I'll take it up to the governor's office. I mean, nobody has the answer. Perhaps nobody ever will. Hey, good point. Now, in the meantime, let's get some jails and prisons going, huh? What else is going on in the world today? President Bush had a news conference. Those who call it press conference are behind times. Press is print, news is everybody. There was a news conference this morning, and you heard it live on AM-750 WSB, and there was some immediate criticism of the President of the United States that he's not tough enough on Russia. In fact, he's being a little more liberal in the sense of more generous in some computer technology and that sort of thing. And one of the reporters said something to the effect, I'm kind of going on recall here, that you're rewarding the Soviets with this new technology. And he really repelled at that. I don't know if you noticed. He's, reward? I'm not rewarding them. So here's a question for you, and it happened to be in the USA Today this morning. Is President Bush being tough enough with the Russians? Now, I bet you haven't heard a question like that in ages. You know, the people that used to ask those questions were those who said there's a commie under every bush. You can't say there's a commie under every bush now because we got a president by the same name, Bush. Is President Bush being tough enough with the Russians? I say not. I say we have got a regime. This is why somebody called up yesterday or the day before, I can't remember, and they said, talking about Lithuania. And I said, let me tell you something. I said, I had Gene Burns, who's a radio talk show host from Boston, on my program Saturday. He says the genie's out of the bottle. He just came back from the Soviet Union. He says the genie's out of the bottle. Reforms are happening everywhere. I say I'm not so sure. I see the people protesting in Red Square. I hear the rhetoric coming out of one side of the Politburo, and the philosophies still staying the same. And I say, why don't we help Lithuania? Why don't we help these nations who look to the example of capitalism for help? Prime Minister of Lithuania, a woman, is in Washington, D.C. on what they call a private visit. She receives no official attention. Why? So I ask you, do you approve with the way President Bush is handling the relations with the Soviet Union? And do you favor much of what the sentiment in the USA Today this morning has? Their editorial is that the president's Soviet policy makes sense. What do you think? 872-0750, toll-free line 1-800-WSB Talk right here at 117 on AM-750 WSB.
A quiet spring Sunday in Atlanta, but AM-750 WSB News is on alert to bring you the first live reports from the scene of a plane crash into a house.
Small aircraft is leaking fuel all over this house.
The first to bring you eyewitness accounts.
Time we reached the treetops, that was it.
And the first to bring you updated information from the scene of the accident.
The pilot is identified as Glenn Latimer of...
That's why we're Atlanta's news leader, AM-750 WSB. When news breaks out, we break in. Depend on it.
For Cloth World, here's Mrs. So-and-so.
Ladies, Cloth World has 3 new stores that are going to keep you in stitches. And to celebrate their grand openings, this Saturday, all Cloth World stores are having a Beat the Clock sale, where a stitch in time saves up to 35%. Just bolt over to the Beat the Clock sale from 7 to 8 a.m., and you'll snap up 35% savings on regular price fabrics and patterns. Bobbin, there's that bobbin again. From 8 to 9 and save 30%. Well, there seems to be a pattern developing here, which is the earlier you shop, the more you save. So go to Cloth World this Saturday and beat down the door at the Beat the Clock sale. Well, this is Mrs. So-and-so saying there's no place like Cloth World where you can sew so much for so little. So long.
This Saturday, visit the Beat the Clock sale starting at 7 a.m. at all Cloth Worlds, including the new Conyers and Marietta locations. Due to Snellville days, the new Snellville store only will open at noon with 35% savings.
So hurry.
Golf is a sickness. My wife says she wishes I'd see other women instead. I might stay home more on weekends. Well, now I've played every course in town. No more fun. Other good courses are too far away. I drive all night, fall asleep at work, and lose my job. Then I could play golf. Oh, what am I saying?
Lake Lanier Islands Hotel and Golf Club. Rates are as low as $59 per night, single or double occupancy, and the kids stay free. Maybe you didn't know we were here, but you do now. See you next weekend.
So I played golf Saturday, but Sunday, my wife and I went out in a boat. Yeah, she is a great person once you get to know her.
Lake Lanier Islands Hotel and Golf Club, just resort. Call 945-8787.
Golf all weekend at Lake Lanier Islands Hotel and Golf Club. Award-winning golf, deluxe accommodations, free driving range, and free breakfast each morning. Just $89 per person per day, double occupancy. Call 945-8787 for details and reservations.
Incomprehensible, inconceivable, unbelievable. Most homeowners think the natural disaster that causes the greatest damage to American homes each year is fire. But it's not. It's termites quietly eating away at your home, sometimes going unnoticed for years. That's why Tyndall Gets Pest Control is issuing this warning. Right now, conditions are right for termites to begin swarming, possibly the only evidence of termites you may actually ever see. Don't ignore it. If you see a cloud-like swarm or even hear about one in your neighborhood, call Tyndall Gets immediately. We'll send a representative to inspect your home for termites absolutely free. And should you need it, our Tyndall Gets team of trained professionals will provide skilled treatment and future protection. please heed our warning. Should you see or even hear about a termite swarm, call Tyndall Getz Pest Control, because where there's smoke, there's fire. Tyndall Getz Pest Control, teamed up for the fight against termites and pests.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Kath. I'll be here at 4 o'clock. We have a lot of interesting things to discuss, so don't you be late. And a reminder, tomorrow I'll be doing my show from the stove for Waverly, and we've got some early Mother's Day gifts to give away, and a lot of fun will be had by also. Don't you miss it right now. More of Wes Minter on AM-750 WSB.
Thanks, Kathy. It's 1:21. Your calls are welcome at 872-0750. Hope you're having a great day. I'm Wes Minter, and we're going to get right to your calls just after we check in with the most accurate radio forecaster on the air everywhere. Here's Kirk Mellish.
Okay, Wes, thank you. For this afternoon, most of the thunderstorms will stay in the mountains. We'll have a mix of clouds and sunshine, hazy and muggy, highs ranging from 85 north of Atlanta to 92 south. Then for tomorrow, a chance of a thunderstorm in and around the area late in the day or at night, a high in the mid-80s. With frequent weather updates, I'm meteorologist Kirk Mellish in the AM-750 WSB Weather Center.
Is it just me, or does it not seem near as hot as yesterday? When I came on the air yesterday, it was 84. Right now, it's 79, but it just doesn't seem as hot as it is. Pop star
Crisis in the Gulf. I'm Mike Moss. Iraq reportedly had a Saturday night TV spectacular displaying alleged American pilots captured in the war. The AP's Abner Katzman has been tracking Iraqi reports from Nicosia.
Iran's Islamic Republic news agency reported that Iraqi television Saturday night showed two men whom it claimed were captured American pilots being paraded blindfolded through Baghdad streets. The Iranian agency said that the Saturday night Baghdad television broadcast also announced that more American prisoners of war would be shown later.
Yesterday, the U.S. announced it captured 12...
for Lithuania, but he's fighting his own Politburo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's having the Soviet Union to still look like they're in control. Otherwise, it would look like Lithuania is in control, and then therefore spur some of the other non-Russian Soviet countries to also doing the same thing at one time and really creating chaos within the Soviet Union. And I'm really wondering how, if Gorbachev has been communicating a lot with Bush on how to go about this without making the Soviet Union look bad, yet still attaining what Gorbachev wants and eventual independency for some of these places.
And Jamie, again, it sounds like you have done some good reading on it. Let's assume something for the sake of conversation that I like to call him Mickey.
Okay.
Let's assume that Mickey really does mean well for all citizens of that huge, massive land known as the USSR.
Okay.
Okay, for the sake of conversation, then, should not his actions reflect his real thoughts? Instead of turning the gas off, should he not turn the gas on? Instead of keeping the bread supply short, the water supply short, should he not do everything within his power to increase those supplies and to reach out and try to put people together rather than divide people?
Sure, that would make sense. However, do we know that at least a political or a political career gun is being held to his head of the other, let's say, major leaders within the regime of the Soviet Union are saying, you better look tough and we better keep our militarily tough image or you're out of here, and who knows who we're going to get, which could be a problem even for the United States negotiating.
However, Jamie, remember they had the chance... I beg your pardon?
I'm playing devil's advocate.
That's okay.
On purpose, by the way.
That's okay. However, remember that those so-called leaders in the Politburo and the General Assembly had the chance to return Mickey Gorbachev to Kiev. They had the chance to send him home, if you will.
Yeah.
They didn't. They put their trust in him, overwhelmingly so.
Do you think they're trust?
Do I think they're... Do I trust them?
No. Do you really think they're putting their trust in him?
I think they are.
At this point, based on the stages of what has happened in the last 8 months, I think they're having to let this hand play out a while longer. But I think if it starts affecting the Soviet Union in a more adverse way, I think you might see some heat put on Mickey.
Well, and what's going to happen is you're going to see more people in the streets as you did on May Day. One of the big concerns right now, believe it or not, this takes me back to the Animal House movie. Believe it or not, they're going to have a food fight. Can you just see it? Some John Belushi type standing up going, "Food fight!"
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being kind of funny, and gosh, Jamie, I gotta have fun when I do this. But
honestly, I have a feeling that I think the United States and Bush is probably doing, and this is where he's he's a champion. I mean, he's proved in his previous years. This is his expertise, this sort of thing.
Yes.
Without having to be blatantly blatant about it, I guess is the best
And
word.
that was my original question, and you got it going for me. Thanks, Jamie.
Okay, you're welcome.
Take care. You too, buddy. Drive carefully as you move around out there. 872-0750. Nanette and Decula, 126. How you doing, Nanette?
Just fine. How are you?
I'm great. Good to hear from you.
I had two comments. The first one was about the school lunches.
Junk food
I'm
lunch.
going to be concerned. There's a lot more to education than just math and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when you have so many parents where the moms work. I don't want to say the school is responsible for raising the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that they do have a responsibility to do, to teach things like nutrition.
It's a believe it or not, and I don't have the lady's name and number here. Somebody a couple of months ago gave me the name of a woman here in Atlanta who has been on this school lunch crusade, or a crusade, not the only one perhaps, and is really concerned that even here in Atlanta, well, let's not talk about L.A., let's not talk about their $10 million deficit, let's talk about right here in Atlanta, Georgia, where there's this deficit. Hold on a second there, Nanette. Okay, I got you on real short there. Hold on.